Kiabema the letters as we cram a trabaco. Onyami dadanwa nyanenam. Onyami oya die wanwa nyanenam. Akutem nyami dadanwa nyanenam.
At the heart of the Ashanti region, Mampong is a bustling center of one of the most unique and diverse cultures in all West Africa. The second largest city in the region, Mampong is located in the center of Ghana, a 7-hour drive from the capital city, Accra. The Ashanti make up the largest tribe of the Akan tribal group. They are forest dwellers and have subsisted in relative isolation for centuries, taming the harsh environment under the imposing forest canopy. The Ashanti are musicians, craftsmen, and woodcarvers. According to one ancient myth, a spider taught one Ashanti village the art of weaving. For decades, the kente cloth from that village has been a vivid symbol of a vibrant culture. The diversity in Ashanti culture is no more evident than in the way the Ashantis approach health and healing. With such a forbidding climate, Ghana is a hotbed of dangerous disease. Typhoid, malaria, tuberculosis, meningitis, and yellow fever are all endemic. For centuries, the Ashanti have had to deal with these threats in addition to ordinary health concerns, such as birth and broken bones. As their society evolved, they came to rely on a variety of practitioners to address their health concerns. Anthropologists term this diversified approach to healthcare medical pluralism.
Medical pluralism looks at the ethnic, the age, the gender, language, religious differences within a community and focuses on those as a divisive or as a multi-layered approach to medical practice. It looks at the different areas and sectors of society and makes an attempt to understand the approach of medicine from those different backgrounds.
The sheer volume of healthcare options available to the Ashanti is astounding. During a short stroll along a busy street, we identified over 20 clinics and apothecaries. Dr. Naumasi's herbal shop, Sheikh Ibrahim's herbal and spiritual clinic, the Amangsa naturopathy clinic, which even claims to detect and treat all known ailments.
The Akan people feel at ease exploring all avenues that can assist them in addressing anything that diminishes their well-being, instead of their limiting themselves to just one mode for addressing that which undermines their wholeness. You see flexibility and the readiness for them to try different ways of addressing that.
5 kilometers northeast of Mampang is the village of Pentang. On the surface, Pentang appears little different from the countless other Ashanti towns that dot the forest. They have a small school, farm cocoa, and love soccer. But Pentang is different. People know it as the home of prominent young Akomfo, Nana Jesse Obeng.
Many people talk to somebody that go to Pentang, and that particular person will think the Pentang is a very big town, unless you will reach here that you will see that it's a village. Because the name and how the person will describe the gods and how you see that particular person will examine that, oh, Pentang is a very big town, but it's a village.
What is an Akomfo?
Akomfo literally is a derived term from the original priest Akomfo Noche, who was part of the founding of the Ashanti state in the early 17th century or 18th century. But he's usually someone that some people trust, that they come to and confide in for very important things. Akomfo is a healer, but in more common anthropological wording, we call them a diviner, or in some cases a shaman.
For most Ashantis, the spiritual realm is just as real as the physical world around them. Religion influences every aspect of their lives, from family to business to health. Like people of many cultures, they believe the earth was created both physically and spiritually by a supreme being they call Onyame.
It is generally believed that the Akan have always held a notion about the Supreme Being, and under the Supreme Being are other spirit beings, and then there are the ancestors, and also what others call suman, which are religious objects that are supposed to contain secret power.
Though the Almighty God Onyame created the earth, the Ashanti believe that he is not directly involved with its affairs. To help man deal with everyday problems such as sickness, the Ashanti believe that the great God created lesser gods they call Abasom. Onyame created the Abasom to assist man through priests like Jesse Obeng. The Ashanti traditionally believe that the Abasom live in prominent geographical locations, places like the sea, rivers, and trees.
As at now, I, Okonfo, Nana Obeng Jesse, believe that God is one, and it's through God that the gods came to the world, that is the earth, as we are now. And the gods believe that they have to do things according to the rule of the God.
Jesse's Abasom are river gods. He took us to the river Bonsu outside Pentang, where his gods live.
These gods protect people. They have lasted for long. They have lasted for so long, since 1948 up to date. That is 55 years as at now. We say they are still working. We see no attendance is good. If you go to them, you can observe that these gods look like father, mother, and their children. They look like a family. This is their house. I can say this is their home. And because you cannot see them, this is their home. So always they travel. They are not always in, but they are plenty. So at least the father will be in and the mother will be in always. They travel to so many places, America, so every part in this world. They travel because they have many people who have traveled to overseas. They have to go and visit them in spirituality.
At the age of 18, Jesse became the priest at Pentang. Before that time, the shrine had been vacant, last filled by Jesse's uncle, the late Okomfo Opong Ajare. It became clear very early in Jesse's life that he was destined to become a priest. The village elders explained that when Jesse was born, his uncle fell into trance and brought him to the shrine. They remained at the shrine for an entire day before the Okomfo brought him back. Many wise members of the village marked that day as a powerful indication of Jesse's life destiny. He was to be the next priest at Pentang.
Somebody predicted to us that someday he would be a priest. In his final year in the secondary school, about 7 years ago, when he was in his final year, all of a sudden he was in this position.
You see, it's our forefathers who brought this gods to this town, or is this the gods are river gods, and they came from the river to this town, and they were living with my forefathers. And as at now, I am living in my forefather's house, and I don't have to ignore these gods, whether I like it or not, because I was unwilling to perform this work. And the gods was intended to punish me severely, so that whether I like it or not, I have to come and serve them.
Although Jesse went to high school, most Okomfo don't receive much formal education. They learn what they need for their work directly from the spiritual realm.
Oh, I didn't went for any training at anywhere, but it's the gods who trained me as at now. And the priest's work look like education. It never ends. You have to always study a lot. And day and night, as modernization goes on, the gods also teaches you more helps. Either sitting as I'm sitting, they can tell me something. Because you don't have ears to listen to the gods, you will never hear. And they can teach me something in my eyes. Because you don't have vision to see the gods, I only can see to them and talk to them.
In addition to gods, other good spirit beings visit the Okomfo and teach them. These beings are called motia, the Akan word for dwarves. The dwarves take a priest away for several years and teach him or her how to find and use curative herbs. The motia took this Okomfo for 7 years. Though he was not visibly gone, he describes himself as feeling lighter, like something was missing from him.
If they see you and they love you, then they can come and stay with you.
Then it's all over.
Yeah, that's all. They can come and show.
Then you have to do what they want.
Well, yeah. But on the mountains, you can hear their noise, but we can hear the noise, but we cannot see them. But Nana can see them.
A visit from the motia is sometimes made known to the village when the Okomfo arrives home bounded with vines from the forest. The man following the priest sprinkles talcum powder over the vines to represent the spiritual presence of the motia.
Oh, they look like a human being as we are, but they are very short, and they have 10 round their foot bath, and they have so many beard, and they look very nice, but they are short. Yes, please, a long one like this as yours. And some of them have rasta as I am, tall rasta. You see, that's how it is. This is a praise for the motia. Oh. You see, we use this bread to feed. So if you would have bring the biscuit, we have put one here.
Okay.
You get me right?
Yes.
Yes. And this too is a powder that they use. You see? Mm-hmm. This is the powder.
What's your money? Potato Tian and the more. On your spirit, or the no more. Because I want a mediana. When you would be also Motiano. Or Munu Kuroti set the year to our I say, put time. And no more, no course I would die. My semi say, the Cassibia. Boss, me come more town so I said, I no believe it's a motor so I said, motor war, and the baby said the 80 or more chrono. Was I saying, if said Emira. I should look up for Consuasa, maybe the motor and maybe use and Consuasa and Kohoma more than the visa. On to a button, quite a crew or more baby or more. Said the video, no, my best come to choir and it's a chance. No one number would be who can be between and 9. Between here, I just almost ask for it in an hour. To one me who know.
No, it's not properly. Yeah.
Each day, the children of Pentang are responsible for replenishing the village water supply. The trek brings them through the bush and past the grounds of the great Bojose shrine. The shrine is the center of Jesse's practice. It is a sacred place that belongs only to the gods. In the shrine house, Jesse keeps the suman, or objects of sacred power.
And this is the clothes of the gods.
So this one, the father wears this one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The father wears this one.
And the red one?
What?
The red one?
The red one is for the one who always making for consultation.
Oh, there's a specific god that does consultation.
Oh no!
Or did they...
some years ago, this one, the father also were doing that. But the father, when he comes, he never talks. He just uses his hands to make signs.
During an Akomfo ceremony, it is common for him or her to don different pieces of clothing. The Ashanti use various hats and robes to indicate the presence of their various gods. Often, the garb is strewn with various suman, made of things such as cowrie shells, leather, and rope. This armband, for example, has the power to warn an Akomfo by tightening when a bad person approaches. Jesse explains that the robe to his right represents a god who is fond of traveling. When this god possesses Jesse, he pours sand directly into his eyes. Why does he put sand in the eyes, do you know?
Maybe, I don't know. And if I become free, I don't feel pains about that. You see? And it's not I who is doing that, it's the God doing that. And it has happened so many years since 1948 as at now. And this too is for the witchcrafts. The witchcraft that the gods have hunted them or they catch them already. If the gods catch somebody like a witchcraft and the others, they have to correct either the one of the clothes so that it will represent that you have been caught by the gods already. I told you already, this one is nothing but it's just powder. You can eat some, and this can treat so many. It's the gods using. You get it? This one is the gods using, and it treats a lot of sicknesses. For instance, if you have backbone pains, headache pains, stomach pains, if you want to have a baby, they can give you some. If you are selling things and people are not coming to buy, you have to give you some and make some kind of sacrifice to it, and you use it, and people will just come into you and buy it. You see, follow me. You have to.
Many of Jesse's treatments involve washing the body with certain herbal concoctions. He maintains a small bath facility for this purpose. So they wash themselves?
Yes, please. By using this kind of herbs, prepared herbs. It's just a root, herbs, and the others. And this can give you become healthy, very strong. You see? And if you, riches cannot attach you again. If you use this one, witches cannot attach you again.
So these are protective herbs against witchcraft?
Yes, please. Against witchcraft and some kind of sicknesses. You see, it do a lot of things. Maybe if somebody wants to have good luck, or if somebody wants to travel to overseas, they just come and protect themselves and go.
This is one of the most important areas of the shrine. From this spot, the shrine workers call the gods in preparation for Jesse to be possessed by them.
You see where this man is coming to sit?
Yes.
This one, we use it as to phone them, for them to be aware that we are pouring libation.
Okay.
Because the gods are not living in this house, they are living in the riverside.
Right.
You get me right?
Yes.
So this man is the man who always pour libation. You see, and the distinguished staff, one of the distinguished staff will stand here and handle the distance. I'm asking the man to take the drink.
Oh, yes.
That is, so that you observe that maybe. That is the example. Maybe maybe if they want to listen to if they want to pour libation, and if I have a problem, I have to stand here and maybe kneel down like this. You get me right?
Yes.
And they will pour libation for me.
I see.
So it's here that they pour libation, they cut hens, the sheep, and the others. You get me right?
And then they pour the libation here.
Yes, please. They pour libation here. Because you see, we have never, the gods are in the room, you see, and we can pour libation and the gods will listen whatever we are saying.
The work of the shrine requires the help of many Penting villagers. Some responsibilities are practical. Jesse's father, for example, keeps the books. Others are more spiritual, like pouring libation and reciting prayers.
So we have about 40 people in the, yes please, about 40 people in the shrine who are helping the work of the gods. If I send those of my workers or my colleagues besides me or in the shrine to maybe as the king of Mampong Parish, the king, even the king himself will respect that particular person who I have sent to him, because he thinks I'm a king.
The shrine staff also helps Jesse maintain a large farm where they grow food for the patients that come to stay in Penting.
I use 4 laborers to join me to weed. I'm a good farmer. I work hard during farm processes.
Jesse farms West African staples such as maize, cocoa yams, peanuts, and cassava.
This work we are doing, I don't pay them. It's just sacrifice that they have all sacrificed themselves to help.
The diviner is the religious specialist who has the ability to tap knowledge or information that is not accessible to the ordinary person.
One of the best examples that comes to my mind of divination is from the Bible, and that is Joseph interpreting the dreams of the Pharaoh. This is divination. Joseph had that gift, he had that ability. Here in the Ashanti region of Ghana, divination almost involves exclusively spirit possession. And then the spirit overcomes the healer, and the healer is then able to interpret what is wrong with the person and proceed from there as to how to deal with it.
One important way the Ashanti use divination is to find out why they are sick. They travel, sometimes long distances, to consult with Akomfo. When the Akomfo are possessed, they can tell their patients the origin of their disease and suggest a course of treatment.
Shrines are in 4th dimension, so they can see things which we in our normal life can't see. In 4th dimension, it's magic to the 3rd dimension person. And so anything that happens in the 4th dimension is explained to the priest. And if he fails to inform when he's in the trance.
There are lots of stories you can get from people here about having gone to the hospital, having gone to a doctor, and the symptoms prolong, and the doctor can do nothing about it, and he's tried this and he's tried that, and the symptoms are still there, and it might be there months or even years later. And then someone gets the tip, well, you've got to take that to an Okomfo. You've got to take it to a priest, a healer.
He is saying he has been admitted to so many hospitals, confirmatory hospitals, and so many. And this guy, last time he told Prof that the doctors took him to the surgery room for making him operation. And he bought a lot of things, equipment for operation, and the doctors were not being able to even finding the sickness again. So the doctors just released him to home, and he spent about 3 weeks at home, and he always feel pains, and it's later that somebody tell him that he have to take his things and come to painting for healing.
Most of the time, patients visit an Akomfo only when they suspect that their illness has been caused spiritually. While physically caused diseases can be cured by a regular herbalist or at a hospital, only the Akomfo have the power to discern causes of spiritual illness through divination. The Ashanti call this spiritual kind of illness sunsumyere.
If it is sunsumyere, nobody can see with his physical eyes, unless you consult somebody.
And send the buyer left when I get a baby busa say a hospital and I say or the neighbor near and some of the local hospital.
Because there are some sickness, you go to hospital and they will make x-ray and the like, they will not know where the disease is. But if you come and it's sunsum yare, the gods will tell him this sickness is not a hospital sickness, it's sunsum yare.
I heard of a story, a guy who had a dream, and in the dream he was being bitten by a snake. And in the morning he had his leg bitten. Okay? So that's a very strange, and in that sense, he would rather probably goes to the Okomfo to find out who really bitten him out.
People believe there is a spiritual and physical sicknesses, because physical, once you are eating and once you are drinking water and others, you can get sick. And once we have witchcrafts and the others, not witchcrafts alone, by doing bad things against somebody, by cursing people, they can even use water to curse you, and you can die.
A curse is one example of a spiritual cause of disease. Jesse explained to us that one day, the owner of this pineapple farm discovered that all of his pineapples were missing. Upset by this misfortune, the farmer placed a pineapple stalk in the sacred river to curse the unknown thief.
This is the pineapple, and because somebody has stolen from his farm, he has using this one and made some kind of prayers to it, so that that particular person who stolen the pineapple will be punished. That's why you see it.
Sometimes you can find diviners or those who go into possession dance or medicine people are the very ones that help ordinary people in countering the evil forces that the evil people can use in destroying the happiness, the well-being of other people.
Wednesday is consultation day at the Great Bojwase Shrine. People from all around come to Pentang to make consultation with the gods.
It has reached 8.
As they arrive, they take a piece of wood with a number and wait for it to be called. Ya Ajakoma came to Pentang to ask the gods why her grandson began having epileptic fits and how he can be cured. Ya first consulted with the gods 2 weeks ago. She now waits to speak with them one final time to find out if there is anything more she should do before she leaves Pentang. As the staff calls the gods from the riverside, Jesse waits to become possessed. When he is ready, he will sit in this chair and pour a libation. Jesse's gods did not allow us to film him in possession, but we spoke with Ya after her divination session to find out what the gods told her.
Okay, okacha me say, akola no obi na eye no nti nipa kro no obechi no nti mempe eho niema emra na wonfa nye enyi musuo ma no. Okay, me de ne ba ye ne de se say yare no eye nti se first no tambia da bia se etoda da ku say na ya sori anope betimi aba be se 5 times ansa na ade asa se so me de ne ba ye no me fan say de bre na no nko an de ba ka ho a eye 4 times.
In addition to the performance of rituals, it is common for the gods to prescribe certain herbal treatments.
Use this for sneezing.
Many of the herbs Jesse uses grow right at the shrine.
This is called nunu.
Nunu.
Yes.
Smells good.
It smells good, and all these things are herbs. If somebody have malaria, you can just boil this one for that particular person to wash his or her bath. Get me right?
Do you use cocoa tree medicinally?
Yes, please. The tree, the root for coughing, the leaf for blood tonic.
Okomfo often administer herbs topically by mixing them with shea butter. An expensive luxury in the West, shea butter is abundant in Ghana. In the northern regions, some villages subsist almost entirely by collecting shea nuts and making shea butter.
There you go, Jen.
The consultation ceremony differs with each Okomfo. This is Madame Sewa, an Okomfo in the village of Daho, south of Mampong. To divine, she draws certain objects from a small pot and looks into a mirror covered with feathers. While in possession, she does not speak the native language Twi, but a language only her assistants can understand.
And then what do you use it for?
Here she is trying to explain that the herbs she has picked should be taken through inhalation. She becomes frustrated when her assistants do not interpret correctly.
They are not giving her they are not getting the correct information from her.
Only a few kilometers away, Okomfo Kweku Nkuma has a different style of divination. This man has come to Kweku for diagnosis. To diagnose the illness, Kweku rubs the man's body with an egg, as if it somehow absorbs information about the man's condition. He then says some prayers into the egg and breaks it as a sacrifice to the gods. As is often the case, the Okomfo takes a short break to dance for the spectators. The second divining tool Kweku uses is a kind of diagnostic mirror. He holds the mirror close to the man's body and looks at the reflections to obtain information. Finally, he dusts the man with talcum powder, universally used among Okomfo as a source of spiritual power. As the ceremony ends, the akomfo must come out of possession. This occurs in a variety of ways, most of which involve some sort of startling event, such as falling or jumping. The event is followed by a period of exhaustion and sometimes unconsciousness. Most akomfo require some kind of fee for their services. Kweku charges the equivalent of $10 for this session. A steep price considering that most people in his village won't make more than a couple of $100 this year. Jesse, on the other hand, turns no one away and accepts only what his patients feel they can afford to give. An esteemed shrine like Jesse's may take care of up to 20 or more patients at a time. These services require facilities and food.
Some of people in my town help me to give me some kind of food stuffs to feed my patient people, and some in this town help me to even accommodate some of my patient people in their houses.
As most people stay in Penteng for free, Jesse has developed other ways of supporting the shrine. In addition to his farm, his older brother works in the UK and regularly sends money. One of his patients now lives in Germany and bought him a car in exchange for the services of the gods. Jesse now uses this car as a taxi. The tree phrase stuck on the back window embodies Jesse's attitude towards his practice and life in general. Din payesen ahonya. Good name is better than precious ornament.
You see many people in my house, some are very poor and some are opponent person. But because all hands are not equal, you cannot even stand by and say, I will charge anybody. Maybe this man can get, excuse me to say that you cannot afford. You see, which means I'm not doing the will of our Almighty God.
Ya Mako Baswo has been a midwife in the village of Krobo for nearly 70 years. She has delivered 3 generations of villagers, nearly the entire population.
Yeah, she's been doing it for a long time. Yeah. She had 7 children herself, and none of them that she went to the hospital. And she sometimes she could even deliver by herself. She can do it by herself. Actually, she.
So basically, everyone that is behind her, she's delivered.
Yes.
Wow.
So now you're moving now on what I. Baby, what your mouth?
Including this woman here.
Wait. These ones with different mouth, shapes, and look at that big boy. Now he's a big boy. So our girlfriend. Now Kwejo has a fiancé. He's grown and now he had somebody, but he was delivered by the grandmom. So you can imagine, pretty soon he'll also be bringing forth a child.
Yep.
The wife will be bringing forth a child and it will come back. The generation to generation.
Some people have asserted that until biomedicine arrived, there was no medicine. That's nonsense. It's completely ridiculous. People have been using natural herbs and remedies for forever, long before Western biomedicine was even thought of or created.
Alex Mensah is the most well-known herbalist in Mampong. The town knows him as Dr. One Man, famous for his quick-action medicine.
My grandfather is a herbalist, and when he going to field to take the medicine, he took me to field and take the medicine and asked me to prepare to give to patients. I was too young, so I helped him gradually, unless he get too old. He was 137 years before he died. So when he gets 130 years, he can't go to field to correct the medicine to treat patients. So he asked me to go and correct it.
Dr. One Man is district chairman of the Ghana Federation of Traditional Medicine. This society seeks to encourage traditional healers throughout Ghana to share knowledge and improve patient care.
Herbalists, Muslims, spiritual churches, we have combined for one society.
Herbalists are different kinds. They're the herbalists that go out and actually gather different roots and leaves and so forth from the forest region. And then they're becoming more and more processed in this naturalistic kinds of bottled and cream ointments and things that are being passed off now as more packaged kind of herbalism.
Mampong is flooded with packaged herbal wonders. Entrepreneurs like this man often peddle the concoctions by traveling from town to town. He sells a slew of ointments, rubs, balms, and creams. The label on one jar of cream lists the following cures: all skin diseases, boils, sexual weakness, body pains, Kartha, piles, white, cold, cholera, dog, and convulsion. This booth specializes in blood tonics. In addition to claiming many curative powers, the tonics boast of increasing vitality and general well-being. With so many people seeking cheap herbal remedies, scams are rampant. To cut down on fraud, Dr. One Man registers herbalists that do business in the Mampong area. He confiscates illicit remedies and keeps them on a shelf in his booth.
Some people prepare medicine without certificates. They use their own mind and prepare the medicine and sell to patients. They don't know the difference between good medicine or bad medicine. Because of money, they prepare medicine to sell.
In addition to traveling druggists, some mass-produce herbal remedies in centers like the Alafia Herbal Institute and Clinic. The clinic operates almost like a doctor's office, complete with a waiting area and staff. Although herbal medicine does not treat spiritual causes of disease, it often uses spiritual symbols to advertise the effectiveness of its treatments. The caption on this mural quotes Revelation, marketing to customers that Alafia herbal products have the Lord's blessing.
Okay, if our grandparents or if our ancestors did go through, this Okonfo or went through the bush and picked up some leaves and he joined them or added it to some stuff and was able to prepare a remedy that was able to cure his or her disease. Why can't we do the same thing at this day? In our day also, and that is why we still find the herbal remedies and all these cultural ideas.
When then I retired from my work and come home to make farming, and somebody came to my village and saw my medicine prepared in the sun to dry it, and he asked me, what medicine is this? And I told him that if you are blind, if you have pulse, if you have rheumatism, it can treat you. Then he told me that his mother is blind. He can't go out. Then I give small to the man and give to his mother. About 2 weeks and the mother sent a person to me that I must come home. When I came, he has seen everything. The eyes is correct. So I must use the medicine to help people in the country. And I told her that I can't do it. The next Sunday, the woman went to church and praised God that he had been okay. The eyes looking, you see everything. And the pastor came to me and told me that if I have a medicine like this to help the nation, he won't let me go back to bush for farming. So I must come home and prepare the medicine to treat patients. So he gave me 2,000 to get my certificate to be a herbalist. Here is the stems.
Dr. One Man prepares most of his remedies from herbs that he has personally collected and dried.
It's like this.
He took us through the neighborhood to teach us how some common plants are used.
This one, the roots. If you have a child, about 3 years, he can't walk. Still crawling at the ground. Then you pick early in the morning, you go to back of house, and then we cut the 7 type of this and granted it, and we add it to ginger, and we set into his anus 3 times, then he started working. Usually leaves and add something to cook it, to use it like stew. You pounded you pounded it before you add into a silver and put it in the fire and dry it like you are preparing stew.
I know what you mean.
Then they will dry like powder. Then you give it to the patient to eat it. When he use it by 2 or 3 days, finish eating, all the germs in the body will die. The tapeworm will die. They won't come out. If somebody's sick, you go to spiritual peace. He can do his miracles. They know that the disease that you have is a herbalist medicine can help you. He transfer you to a herbalist. And if a patient comes to me and I see that the disease is spiritual disease, then I transfer the patient to a Muslim or physical priest or a Kung Fu or spiritual churches. That is why we have combined. So if I don't do it, you can do it. If you don't do it, this man can do it.
A malam is a Muslim diviner similar to an akomfo. Malams also treat spiritual disease, but they do not consult ancestors or gods through spirit possession. They heal their patients with the help of the one supreme God, Allah.
Use it straight to our body. If you menstruate, you can use this medicine.
The man in the long robe is Baba Ali. He's been a malam in Mampong for over 20 years. He explains to us how he received his healing powers.
He gets it from dream.
Oh.
Yes, given by God. Even he got it from dream.
At the time of his dream, Baba Ali was a farmer like Dr. One Man. He left the fields to practice full-time as a healer. Even though Baba Ali is illiterate, he uses written text to divine. To divine, he gazes at his patients' names written on paper and dictates instructions.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
If you have a disease, you don't understand the reason why you got that disease, we can help you to recover from your disease. Yes.
Buy banana
to
and give
be
to small children.
The boy's name is Al-Haji Sulama. He's 20 years old. He came to Baba Ali with stomach pains and employment problems.
I wrote my name on it. When he wrote on it, he tell me, like, this, like, I've done something wrong with somebody, and somebody case me, and that person case me. So that make me suffer from that.
I should fast on Tuesday.
Stomach pains alone would not have brought Al-Haji to the Malam. His more serious concern was finding employment. After looking at his name, Baba Ali tells Al-Haji to take some black powder and burn it. He grinds the ashes, which he will mix with shea butter and rub over his body. Baba Ali instructs Al-Haji that the next time the boy sees the man who promised him work, this treatment will cause the man to remember Al-Haji and give him a job.
Oh, he just looks at the name.
Interesting. I'd asked him to write his name and he couldn't do it.
Well, bone setters are basically physical therapists, and they deal with fractures, with sprains, with dislocated this or that joints. And as we saw the other day, is going to come in with something growing on his neck that this woman was able to deal with. And it's an option, as we had explained to us, because of the proximity to town, it's right there in town, and also because of the financial abilities that people have to pay her, and as opposed to paying for setting a cast or plaster of Paris or something in the hospital.
Akwasia is one of 2 local bone setters in Mampong. She sees patients in a small courtyard behind her home, just off the main road. The boy on the left is her son Kojo. He assists her each day and knows most of her craft. For patients with broken bones, she applies a mixture of herbs using shea butter.
Yes.
The herbs are supposed to soften the bone and allow her to manipulate it more easily.
But certainly, the hospital, a doctor can treat a broken arm.
Yeah, they can treat.
But the way you treat it is better?
It's different.
It's different.
And our own is faster than the doctor's.
So your method is faster?
Yeah.
And it's less money?
Less money.
And
because even the man who was sitting right now, he had a problem. So he doesn't have money.
Right.
This man doesn't have money.
Okay.
We are just treating it just freely. But he hasn't given us even a penny.
Though her father was a herbalist, he didn't pass along any medicinal knowledge. Akwasia learned to make her balms from a man who used them for aching joints.
The man was only fixing not bone, but injury like joints. So man more has knowledge to it and what God has given her to it. Then he turned to make it like using it on bone. So the bone is achieved by her own.
For her therapy to work, she frequently requires her patients to visit daily. Many school children like this one visit her in the morning before school. This boy broke his arm falling off his bike into a drainage ditch. She wrapped his arm in a poultice and asked the boy to return after a few days. Today the bone is soft, ready for her to manipulate.
What's wrong with this boy?
His problem, I don't know how to put it in English. He has some kind of we call it in our language a bo.
Is it like a swelling?
Yeah, you can touch it and see. You
I can see it. Yeah,
it's like they have some kind of stones in it. He doesn't feel pain. I can just touch it like this. He doesn't feel any pain in it. Yeah, it was very big.
That large?
Yeah, too large. Already it has reduced.
Out like this?
Yeah. At first when he came, the face wasn't so clear like this. It was very big face. Well, once in my life.
Kojo says that most people learn about Akwasia and her practice by word of mouth.
I say it's my mom who does. So it's like when he or one of his people get injured, they have to bring it to my mom so that she fits for them. So he turns by. But we haven't made any kind of advert or anything like
that. For centuries, the Ashanti have relied on healers like Jesse, Ya, Baba Ali, Dr. One Man, and Akwasia to address their health concerns. These practitioners endure as practical medical resources for several reasons. They are cheap. Their treatments seem to work. But most importantly, the healers continue to exist because they and their patients share the same beliefs regarding causes of disease. As long as people believe in curses and witchcraft, there will be sunsumyare, or spiritual sickness. And so long as spiritual sickness exists, the Ashanti will need priests to treat it.
It's fashionable for us in our post-enlightenment, post-scientific, post-industrialized revolution period to think of the rest of the world as laboring in conditions of squalor and irrational and superstitious thought. But I'm afraid the world isn't that disconnected anymore.
During the last century, Western medicine began to play an ever-increasing role in the Ashanti system. The British built hospitals throughout the country and introduced pharmaceuticals and surgery as ways of treating disease. In the cities, most people now turn to modern hospitals for serious health problems. Most healers recognize that doctors can cure many physical diseases better than they can. They also recognize that there are still many uncured diseases that affect their people. Diseases like the crippling Buruli ulcer and AIDS.
The hospital people, they have some conference for the priest. Last 4 years I went to Kumasi for spending 3 days and teaching us how to use the modernization and even to attach to our herbs. For example, as the AIDS program came to Ghana, they took us to Kumasi and we sit in the hotel for about 3 days and learning how we have to campaign against the AIDS and the dangerous sicknesses that is difficult to cure. So we are not just sitting in the village without learning from anybody. We have to learn the experience the people and the doctors have.
As is evident from Jesse's words, the healers resent characterization as backward and unprogressive. They welcome new knowledge from the West, an eagerness that is seldom reciprocal. In one way or another, everyone stands to gain from the traditional wisdom of the common healers, priests, and kings of Ashanti.
We know God, as I told you already, we know God, I think more than you, the white men. you see, because if you come to Ghana, there is no fight. Ghana is free zone. You cannot hear there is different weapons fighting here and there. You see, because I know it's because of all these gods that have let us be united, be friendly with our friends and our neighborhoods.
Yesu wa humia, Erade. Yesu wa humio,